Peace. This is the enemy's public, and I am Bro.Nasir. Brothers and sisters, we need to pay close attention because we are being set up. This false narrative of black people assaulting Asians is a setup. They are setting us up to bring forth legislation that protects Asians and indict us. And to all the black people who are standing in solidarity with Asian people, just know that you are indicting your own people with that foolishness. And where were the Asians when Asian men were attacking black women in nail salons and in beauty supply stores? Asians in New York City stood tall with a murderer in New York City. Peter Liang, when he shot indiscriminately inside their stairwell in Brooklyn and a brother died because of it, they came out and they supported him because he was one of them. Even though that police officer was a murderer, they supported him. We need to understand that. And also, when George Floyd was being murdered, it was an Asian police officer who kept the people at bay when the people was saying that Derek Chauvin is killing George Floyd and that he needs to get off the brother's neck. It was an Asian police officer that kept the people at bay and didn't pay attention to none of the people's pleas when that man lay dying on the ground with Derek Chauvin's knee on his neck while he was handcuffed, urinating and defecating on himself. We need to understand that we are being set up and they're trying to push a narrative that says that black people are violent. So when someone do an act of violence against us, they'll say that we're violent and we cannot be a victim. We can't even have a back and forth with an Asian person without that Asian being a victim. Now, we all know that Asians has the history of verbally abusing black people. And we don't have no history of doing any violence against Asian people. Now, why all of a sudden in New York and in California, nowhere in between, we can't find that, but Asian people are being attacked by black people, and it's the same MO. Somebody wearing pink with a red type of scarf or bandana. Somebody that you could actually pick out and point out at the Million Man March. If you look at the Million Man March, you'd be able to point that person out. Why are they doing this? It's a setup. And to add to the setup, they tried to use the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's name in a narrative that was so cheap and not well thought out and just outright false propaganda. Now, the other day at the Capitol, Washington, D.C., they alleged that a young brother drove through the barracks, hit a police officer, jumped out wielding a knife. So they shot and killed the brother. And then they go to his social media and says that he lost his job and that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, basically what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is, said that he's his spiritual teacher, his guide, and all the things that we call the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And it was so propagandized that we know it didn't come from this young brother. First, any registered member of the Nation of Islam is just that, registered. We have paperwork on this person. And members of the nation don't wear braids, okay? They don't wear braids, and they're taught not to carry as much as a penknife. We're taught not to carry weapons. It's in our lessons. We're taught not to carry lessons. So you can't pull, you try and try and try and try wicked media. You try and try to pull small time stuff on us. Just know that it's not working. It's not working. We're taught not to carry as much as a penknife. That's why we're taught hand-to-hand combat, knowing how to disarm a person, because we're taught not to carry a weapon. Yet, they want us to believe that this young brother got out, a member of the Nation of Islam, got out and wielded a knife at police officers, and they shot and killed them. Yet, a guy shooting at them, they're taken to custody. Okay? A guy shooting at them, they shoot in the leg and take him into custody. A guy bombing, setting off bombs in New York and New Jersey, you take him into custody. A young white supremacist who goes into a church and kills 9 people, you take him into custody. When there's a shooting at a school, the security officers, the sheriff officers that were assigned to that sector goes and hide. Yet, unarmed men get shot and killed. We are being set up. We need to understand this. We need to not support this narrative. Don't go around saying black people stop attacking Asians because we're not doing it. Don't fall into their narrative. Don't repeat their narrative and their propaganda, because black people are not attacking Asians. This is set up. This is false propaganda. This is what Donald Trump said, fake news. And when you smell BS, know that it's BS. That's what it is. It's BS. And they're trying to set us up. So if an Asian come up to one of us and they're aggressing us and something happened, they're automatically the victim or we're automatically the perpetrator. They are already setting up the narrative that we are the violent ones with their propaganda on TV and their multi-ethnic destruction in America media platforms. They are already setting us up so when an Asian person or any person do harm to us, it'll be labeled as justified because we're violent and we are the perpetrators of violence against them. So it's a setup. We need to understand. We need to go accordingly. We need to stop standing with them in their plight because they don't stand with us in our plights. We need to get on code with each other and not worry about other people. because they're not worried about us. And also, these Asians are on team white supremacy. Understand that. And they know we're not attacking them. A few of them came out, but overall they're rolling with that because it's going to benefit them, and they're going to get a law passed. They're going to be a protective class of people, and they're also going to get what's meant for us as far as something tangible. Yet we don't need to be trying to get anything from a government that never did anything for us. We have enough money to come through our communities to suffice ourselves. We need to just spend with each other. And stop supporting these businesses. If you see a black business, you go support that business and leave those Asian businesses alone. Because if they can lie and disrespect us and be on that team, let them be on that team, yet they're not going to be on that team at our expense. That's our problem. We support everybody, but we don't support each other. Now, we should be tired of people just misusing us. I know I'm tired of it. Yet these Asians, they're going with that narrative. And if they can go with that narrative, we need to make their pockets suffer because they don't like us and they don't respect us anyway. And they're going with the narrative that is the set up when it comes to us. And anyone who attacks the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is attacking black people as a whole. When you discredit him and when you try to set him up and when you try to slander his name, that is slandering the whole of black people. Because we all know how the propaganda machine and how this open and consistent enemy feel about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Tomorrow night, Sunday, April 4th, I'm going to be doing a program called Weapons of Mass Distraction. And myself and a panel of brothers will be discussing all of these matters on one program. We're going to discuss this program. Please tune in tomorrow, Sunday, April 4th, 2021. We're going to be discussing weapons of mass distraction because we got the Derek Chauvin trial going on, the murderer of George Floyd, the low down, dirty, stinking murderer of George Floyd. And they're trying to distract us with all these incidents and murders and mass shootings and so-called attack on Asians while this trial is going on. So we're going to talk about all this tomorrow. Stay tuned and look out for it. It's going to be 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, Sunday, April 4th, 2021. This is The Enemy's Public. I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comments section. Peace.